One team scored 149 goals in a single football match, and here's the part that breaks your brain. They didn't even need to try. No sprint, no skill, no sweat. The opposing team just kept walking up to their own net and kicking the ball in, over and over, for 90 minutes straight. One goal roughly every 36 seconds. And somehow this was completely legal. If you're wondering how that's even possible, stick around because this story involves a referee, a conspiracy, a group of teams doing math in real time, and one of the most chaotic protest moments in football history. Let's go. The year is 2002. We're in the Indian Ocean on the island nation of Madagascar, and we're not talking Premier League, Champions League, or anything close to it. This is a domestic cup competition, the Coupe de Madagascar, smaller stage, but the drama, absolutely world class. The match is between AS Adema and SO Lemurn, two local clubs. On paper, it's a completely ordinary knockout stage fixture. In reality, it became the most statistically insane result in the history of organized football. But to understand why it happened, you have to understand what happened the day before. Here's where it gets interesting. This wasn't a simple single elimination tournament where you lose and go home. This was a round-robin group stage playoff. Think of it like a mini-league. Multiple teams play each other, points are tracked, and the team with the most points at the end advances. In theory, every match matters equally. In practice, the last round of matches can create situations where the math gets very, very complicated. If you know exactly what you need, and you know what your rivals need, sometimes doing something completely unexpected makes total sense. That's not cheating, that's just terrifying levels of tactical calculation. The day before the Adema match, SO Lemurn played a different game. And at the end of that game, a refereeing decision went against them. A decision their players and fans believed was completely wrong. Not slightly wrong, catastrophically wrong. The call cost them points, and those points, in the context of the group standings, may have cost them a shot at advancing. Now here's the thing about being robbed by a referee in a high-stakes situation. Most teams are furious. They complain, they argue. Maybe they get a red card for protesting. So Lemurn did something else entirely. They decided to make a statement, a very, very loud one. Before the match against AS Adema even kicked off, SO Lemurn had essentially already quit. Not officially. Not on paper. They showed up. They wore their kits, they took the field, and then they spent the entire 90 minutes kicking the ball into their own goal. Every time they got possession, own goal. Every time play restarted, own goal. Methodical, deliberate, almost ceremonial. Their goalkeeper walked up, placed the ball, and scored against himself. Repeatedly. AS Adema, to their credit, were reportedly confused and uncomfortable. You know the type? They came to play football, and instead they got 90 minutes of standing around watching the other team dismantle themselves. Their players apparently didn't even celebrate most of the goals. Imagine being on that side of it. You're technically winning 50-0, and it somehow feels terrible. Let's actually do this. 149 goals. 90 minutes. That's a goal every 36 seconds. If they were perfectly spaced, which they weren't. The pace was reportedly relentless in the second half as the protest intensified. This sounds simple. It isn't, because scoring that many times in 90 minutes still requires effort. Even scoring against yourself takes coordination. You have to retrieve the ball, reset, kick it in, retrieve again. It's almost impressive in the darkest possible way. The previous world record for a winning margin was somewhere around 36-0. So Lemurn didn't just break that record, they obliterated it by more than 4 times, in a protest, while being absolutely furious at a referee they'd never see again. Here's where the story gets its final twist. Madagascar's Football Federation was not amused. Shockingly, and I say that with full sarcasm, deliberately scoring 149 own goals in a professional match is considered unsportsmanlike conduct. The coach of SO Lemurn was suspended for 3 years. Several players received bans as well. The result itself stood, AS Adema officially won 149-0, which is now permanently etched into the Guinness World Records. So the protest cost them the points they were already furious about, cost them suspensions, cost them their reputation, and arguably achieved nothing in terms of reversing the original decision. But here's my personal take. I think they knew that. I don't think this was about changing anything. This was about making sure everyone knew they were angry. And on that front, it worked. We're still talking about it over 20 years later. Football has seen match-fixing scandals. It's seen deliberate time wasting. It's seen teams trying to lose on purpose for tournament positioning. That's actually happened at the Olympics. But this is different. This wasn't strategic losing. This was a public meltdown disguised as a football match. It was a team saying, loudly and clearly, we think this whole thing is broken, and expressing that opinion through the most chaotic method available to them. And the result? 149-0. Winners who barely kicked the ball. Losers who kicked it constantly. A world record that will probably never be touched because no one will ever be this committed to a protest ever again. So the next time someone tells you a blowout was bad, remember this. Remember a goalkeeper in Madagascar lining up to score against himself for the 87th time in the name of making a point. The real record here isn't the scoreline. It's that a group of footballers found the single most dramatic way possible to say this isn't fair, and accidentally made history doing it.